What's up, gangsters? Today we're going to be brewing a bitter. Here we have Festival Premium Ale Kit, a celebration of fine British ales. Festival Father Hook's Best British Ale. In the box you'll get 2 bags of wort malt, which is like all the oats and shit that has already been processed, so you ain't got to go through that trouble. You also get sugar in this one. Some of them come with sugar, some of them don't, depending on what you brew. Hop pellets, that's important for this brew. Yeast, a cheesecloth bag. I haven't had to use one of these before, but that'll be interesting when that comes to it. That's for siphoning later at the end. Right now, you're probably wondering, what equipment do I need? Well, we're going to go through that as well, step by step. So, the first thing you're going to need, you definitely need, is this fermentation bucket for brew. Usually they'll come with one of these airlocks as well. These are very important, with a lid, very important. And I put all the stuff you need inside the bucket, so I'm going to take it out as we go. Paddle, that's for stirring. Sterilizer, very important. Everything you use has to be sterilized before you use it, because if it's not sterilized you can get yeast fly in your beer and then it's just fucked. It's unusable, undrinkable. Hydrometer, very useful. I don't know how recent these are as an invention, because you can't imagine, like, you know, Vikings and people who used to brew beer years and years ago using them, but we've got one because they're incredibly useful to find out when the beer is actually ready to bottle or barrel. Thermometer, very important. How are you supposed to know what the temperature is of the beer if you haven't got one of these? This is depending on where you sort of are. Like, if you've got a warm house or a cool house, you know, then you might not need these, or it's sort of preference as well. So this is for when the bucket is filled with beer while it's brewing. It needs to stay between like 24 and 25 degrees, or depending on what it says on there. And that's kind of hard to maintain, you know, during the evening or wherever you're keeping it, unless you live in a fucking factory, which I do not. I live in a room. You plug it in and it just keeps the beer at a consistent temperature. One of the things many people screw up on is they'll just use tap water for the beer. You can't be doing that. You don't want to use gross, you know, leady water that's come straight out of your tap. You want to use nice, bottled water from the shop, or, you know, water that you've purified yourself. I've done that before. It's long. We're using bottled water from the shop. And when you count it up, it's only about, like, you know, £4, £5 more, so it is worth doing. You think about beer or any sort of drink, like, most of it is water. So if you're going to use, you know, low value, shitty tap water, then what are you doing? Think about the water involved before you brew. Right, the first thing you're going to want to do before you start your brew is sterilize everything. So I've got my bucket sterilized. I've been using this cleaner sterilizer here. But sterilize the bucket in hot water. Been sterilizing my my paddle. That's all sterilized. My hydrometer sterilized. Thermometer sterilized. Airlock sterilized. These are all the things you're going to be using today. So you got to make sure they're all sterilized. And what you're going to want to do after you've sterilized everything is put the malt bags, or sometimes they'll come in a can, into some hot water so they soften up, so they're easier to pour out. Now these are nice and soft, you're going to cut them open with some scissors. Be careful, they might be hot. Put them in there. As you can see, there's a lot of residue in there, so you're going to want to get some hot water and swirl it about and then put that in as well. Alright, so now you need 3 litres of boiling water. Now you can just use a kettle for this, but my kettle's kind of old and it's got a bunch of limescale in it. So I've just boiled a big pan, which I'm just going to pour in. This is 3 litres. Now if it comes with sugar, this is when you're going to want to add the sugar, according to this recipe. This is when you're going to start adding your cold water. Now it says to fill it right to the top, like 23 litres, which is what this can do. But I like to fill it to about 20 and then check the temperature, because it's going to have to be at a certain temperature at the end anyway. So you don't want to be like at the point where it's full and you got the wrong temperature. So I'm just going to fill it to 20, then check the temperature. The beer is now at 25 degrees, so we're going to add the yeast, and it says to just stir it kind of gently into it, so we're going to do that. And now we're going to put the lid and the airlock on it, and we should be done. And then in 5 days, going to come back and put some hops in it.